start. Broadcast.
Welcome back. We're doing Is This Normal? Here with Emily and Simone and our wonderful, wonderful guest Lisa Wolpe from the Los Angeles Women Shakespeare Company, LAWSC.net. I think I got that right. And we've been talking about women and Shakespeare and gender identification and gender roles and empowerment and agency with all of those things. This is sort of, it's deep conversation. This is usually much deeper than we have a chance to get on some of these topics, which I absolutely love, and I know Simone absolutely loves. So we're sort of feeding our own egos and interests in a way by doing this.
Everybody's gone.
Because I think for us, for those of us who do this is something that's very important to us. This past two semesters, I've been teaching an online class for CSUN. That's a gender class, gender issues. And when I took this course many years ago, the entire course was about feminism and only talked about women and the history of feminism and feminist theory, which is all well and fine to learn feminist theory, and that's important, but that's not gender studies. That's feminism. Women's studies. It's not gender studies.
Right.
And I was very pleased that when I had the opportunity to work on this class with another professor, he chose a really good textbook that is gender studies. Talks about intersex, talks about transgender, talks about, they talk about the gender transgression zone, where there's that space that girls or boys can go through where they do things that are of the other gender, and who guards that zone, and what are the implications to going in and out of that space. And I think that's a lot of what you've been discussing, is what happens when people choose or have no choice but to transgress into those other spaces where, whether you're cross-dressing or whether you're gaining power and agency by taking on aspects of another gender, or losing power and agency because you've taken on aspects of another gender, whether or not that's a choice. That's a whole other discussion as to whether or not that's a choice that someone makes. So that's very powerful to me, and it's been interesting. The students had to write essays on these topics, and it was fun for me to read essays and to discuss with the students how they didn't quite understand. They're like, well, what's the big deal?
Right. Because it never was.
Yeah,
explained to them.
Right, what's the big deal? I'm a girl, so what? I'm a girl. I know I'm a girl, you know I'm a girl. And I'm trying to explain to them, but how do I know you're a girl? What tells me that you're a girl? And you're not doing this consciously, for the most part. You're not getting up in the morning and fixing your hair and putting on makeup and putting on specific clothes and jewelry and things, saying, this is going to show me as a woman to the rest of the world. You're not doing that consciously. You're just doing it. And to then start to really break that down and think about consciously, what are you doing to present yourself in a specific gender to the rest of the world? And I remember doing it in a classroom and having mostly women sitting in the class and saying, okay, you're in jeans and a t-shirt, you're in jeans and a t-shirt, you're in pink. Jeans and a t-shirt doesn't tell me girl or boy. That's considered gender-neutral clothing at this point. What's on the shirt, or how the jeans look, or how they're styled, or how you're wearing it might tell me girl or boy. But the jeans and the t-shirt itself doesn't tell me that. And they start to get ruffled. And that's good, because that's when they start to think. And I think that's a lot of what you do. A lot of your work is you're pushing those boundaries and making people really think about, you know, what it means when a woman is embodying this male role, or when a man is embodying a female role.
Yeah. I think that when any of us are really focused, really happy, really passionate, really into something, then we become present in a way that is beyond our gender markers. Mm-hmm. You know, time seems to disappear when we're fascinated with one another. Everything does. You know, all of the preconceived notions of what's sexy, or what's gender, or what's power, or what's... Like, if I come off stage, most people think I'm much taller than I am. You know?
Yeah.
Because I've made an impression.
Right.
You can't be 5'3.5". That doesn't make sense. I've already decided.
You must be 5'7".
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not 5'7". I'm 5'3.5". And I'm not a man, but I can convince you that I am on stage. Mm-hmm. You know? And I also can convince you that I'm inexhaustible and brilliant when I'm on stage. But I'm not inexhaustible. And I'm sometimes quite stupid. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a way of elevating someone in a moment where you think you know them because of their on-stage moment. And I'm sure that's the way we all saw the performances of our parents and anybody else performing gender or parent or social, acceptable, whatever.
Yeah.
That 5 minutes of being homecoming queen we saw as homecoming queen, but we didn't see her hangovers and we didn't see her lack of self-esteem, we didn't see her anorexia, we didn't see her shoplifting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't see all that. We just saw the 5 minutes of the perfect hair combed over the plastic French fry basket.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
We saw that, but we know better. We know that's not how it happens. We've seen our older sisters with the zits. Do you know what I mean? And yet we kind of still, you know, and so that's what we're constantly looking at when we deconstruct the media and the messages that we consume. It's not unconscious. It's just faster than when you're in high school now, it does take people an hour to get dressed because they know everybody's judging them.
Yeah.
And when you distill it into 5 minutes, if I'm an actress with another outfit in the trunk of my car, because if I get a commercial audition, I can do in 5 minutes. I can make myself into a suburban mom in 5 minutes. I know the drill.
Right.
You need flash, you need lips, you need cheeks, you need eyelashes, you need to pluck, you need to stiffen the hair, you need to lift the breasts, you need to put the heels on. You can do it in 5 minutes once you know what the compromises are.
I have learned so much from some of my cross-dressing friends who are all men cross-dressing as women. I don't have any drag king friends.
Oh, now you do.
I know, I do.
It's perfect.
But I mean, literally, like, the clothes are in the trunk because some of them are married and they haven't come out to their family, you know? But signifiers, you know, like the eyebrows are plucked and the skin is pretty because he has been using moisturizer. Like, I have Daria. Daria will tell you, oh yeah, I have friends who do that, you know.
Well, I'm teaching at the American Musical Dramatic Academy. I cannot find any straight boys to put in any of the plays. I just directed 4 in a row. I had to reimagine Our Town as a story about a boy's sexual identity because I couldn't find a kid to play George that wasn't gay. That could play straight, let alone I don't care who he sleeps with. They cannot straighten their wrists, drop their voices, stop being snickety about everything. They're so entrenched in I've got to be the perfect gay boy that their careers are secondary at this point. They're just trying to find an identity that works for Hollywood because they're from Iowa and this is really intense here. You know, everything from having the perfect pecs to the hair to the clothes to the $50 tennis shoes. They really have a lot to do.
I wonder if that's like a modern phenomenon, because you know Tom Cruise never have to worry about that. He plays straight all the time, you know?
Some people do it well, and some people do not. I think it's important cachet now.
It's the Glee thing now. Yeah, these young boys are like, they've learned how to act like you just said it. Like, yeah, this is how I act as a gay young man.
And they're being pressured, even at 18, in college, to decide if they're gay or straight.
Wow.
Which the boys are pressuring the boys just as much as the girls are. The girls are over it. They're like, I'm not dating anybody in this school. I'm going to focus on my tap dancing because this is stupid. This is a complete waste of my self-esteem. But the boys are going, how's your boyfriend? Don't talk to her. And I thought, jeez, he's 19. Give him a break. You know, he doesn't know yet what he's going to end up
and
with.
he can be gay and sleep with girls. Happens all the time.
Yeah. It's just a lot of pressure, you know. And I know we had pressure when I was a kid not to sleep with anybody at all, you know. So things have changed, but I don't know, it's kind of different in LA than it is in Kansas, though. It's not, this country has many different countries. I've driven across the country 12 times, and it's very dangerous. I live in New York or LA for a reason.
Yes.
You know, it's not possible.
Yeah. And we've discussed this. We've discussed this, how Middle America is very, very different from the coasts, and even the coasts are very different. And even
yeah.
you know, LA is not homogenous by any means. New York is not homogenous by any means.
No, but you have, at least in LA, more varieties of religious faith than anywhere else in the world. Just in our one city, you have freedom to worship. That's something.
Right.
And skin color of some variety. That's something.
Exactly.
I know we're all materialists and, you know,
that matters,
not very highly educated, but we are multicolored idiots.
Yeah.
Multicolored idiot.
And New York is just more. It's closer to Europe. There's a richer culture there.
Absolutely. Well, I know that I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up in Maryland, and we went there years ago for some reason. It'll be really okay if I never go there again. But we went there for something, and I literally couldn't breathe. I had to get out of the house every 10 minutes. Now, part of that had to do with the fact that my mother was a smoker and you could breathe in the house because there was no actual air. But part of it was that I just felt so restricted and so oppressed so immediately in that space. And we came back, and we were living in Hollywood at the time, and went to the post office, and I'm like, oh, there's the homeless guy I know, and there's the guy with the hair, and there's the you know, and the punk guy, and the thing. Like, oh my God, it's so much better to be in the space with all these different colored people. It was wonderful, because, I mean, this was just a couple of years ago in Maryland, and Maryland's still very segregated.
Yeah.
There are black sections and white sections, and you don't
And it's voluntary.
cross.
That's voluntary. It's nobody keeping people from rubbing elbows. Here, you get a neighborhood with low rent, the white people move in, there goes the neighborhood. It's like, seriously, Echo Park, white people are like, oh, the rents are cheaper? Bam, they ruined Echo Park. Yeah, in Louisiana, I feel that, like, it's only these people here and these people here, and they keep to themselves, and oh my God. Yeah, go to the post office. There's a Korean, an Armenian, a Japanese, a black, a Mexican, old people are tough here.
Yeah.
Walking up and down the street, getting on the bus.
Yeah.
In other places, they're like, oh, we'll take care of you. You can't walk. Here, they're like 90 years old walking down the street. You can't mess with them.
Because they won't get taken care of here. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
It is.